Now, something I forgot to mention in the previous devlogs was that I actually already have a name for the game, which is Dead Sun. Now, it is just a twist on Dying Light, but I needed some way to shorten these devlog titles, so I think it's pretty good. Now, the inventory I have for Dead Sun is really old. At the time I created it, I intended on updating it in the future, but as I progressed with Dead Sun and got better at coding, I realized I would be better off starting from scratch. So that's exactly what I did. I started by storing data. Overall, it wasn't too complicated, and it works really well, but basically, I just store every weapon as a value, similar to how the default Roblox backpack stores tools in a folder under the player, and then I just save it all as a table when you leave the game. In case you're wondering, a table in Lua, which is what Roblox uses, is just an array of different values. After that, it was pretty simple. I just made it so you can assign your weapon to a slot and equip it by pressing the slot's corresponding number. Next up, I decided to work on the Ragdoll, since you're going to be seeing it a lot throughout the game. Basically, in gaming, there's this thing called an active Ragdoll, and in a nutshell, if you take a regular Ragdoll and a non-Ragdoll model, one with animations, you could have the Ragdoll follow the non-Ragdoll model and make it interact with the world physically. Now, I did struggle a teensy bit in the beginning, but eventually I figured it out, and I gotta say, it's pretty damn neat. I also fixed the legs bending weirdly since it was goofy as hell. So a lot of people like the grappling hook. Personally, I find it insanely fun to be swinging around just like Spider-Man, which is why I decided to add the swinging grapple rather than the one that just pulls you anywhere. So, how do I make that? Well, there's a couple things I have to do. I have to make it quick, I have to make it smooth, and I have to give it a nice curve. My main idea for this was a Bezier curve. Basically, a Bezier curve is a curve generated using multiple points with math. It's pretty complicated, but if I can generate a curve using the start point of the swing, the midpoint, and the end point, I can consistently make a smooth and perfectly curved grapple. Now, I did encounter a couple of issues along the way, but I think I did a pretty good job, and I hope you like it. Now, a couple of people have been asking how exactly it'll work in-game, and to summarize it, it's going to be a gear that you can get in-game at some point during the story, and there's going to be certain points in the map which you can swing from. So, as you could probably tell from the previous leaks, the combat in Dead Sun is pretty easy. Now, there's a multitude of reasons for this, but I think the main one is that the enemies have next to no variation in their attacks, making it repetitive and predictable. So I decided to spice it up a bit, and the main way I did this was by allowing the enemy to parry the player. So if the enemy is actively parrying, then I will break the player's attack and stun them. Pretty much exactly like the enemy, except a little less severe. And after a few minutes trying to get the animations to work, I finally got the parry system to work on the players. I also added a vignette and some camera shake effects so it feels more powerful. Then I programmed the enemy to sometimes parry instead of attack, and I'm pretty happy with the result. Now, the parkour in my game tends to feel pretty floaty. I received a lot of comments about how it's too weightless and I should turn up the gravity. And if I'm going to be honest, I did not want to do this. But upon further testing, I realized they were right. But I think I did it too much. And so I tried finding a middle ground, and after messing around with it, as well as adjusting the movement to fit the new gravity, I think it's a lot better. Well, that concludes the third devlog for Dead Sun. Now, I've been thinking about where I can take the devlogs from here, and I decided that I won't be releasing them as often. I'll most likely release them every 1 to 2 months, which will give me more time to develop the game. And to be honest, the only reason I was able to drop the first 2 devlogs so fast was because I developed most of the content in them beforehand. Anyhow, I think I'm going to be dropping a Q&A video soon, since I noticed a lot of you have questions about Dead Sun. So make sure to leave any questions you may have in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer all of them. Once again, I would love to hear your feedback on everything so I can improve the game. Maybe consider joining the Discord. You can give suggestions, chat with the community, and see exclusive sneaks of the game. And thanks for watching.